మా తలుపు దగ్గరికి వేసుకో.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. So please confirm my voice is audible or not.
Yes, sir.
I hope my screen also visible. So as part of yesterday's session, so in the morning session we discussed about pandas. So within pandas we discussed about what is the data frame and what is the series, and we discussed about how to create data frames, and we discussed about how to create data frames by using files, and we discussed about data frame operations. So these are other topics we covered as part of our yesterday morning session. In the afternoon session, we discussed about how to integrate or how to perform GCS operations by using Python. So in this process, we discussed about how to set up GCP credentials into notebook, and we discussed about how to set up GCP credentials into PyChart, and we discussed about how to access GCS buckets and GCS files, and we discussed about how to copy files from local disk to GCS bucket by using Python. So these are other topics we covered as part of our yesterday's session. Now today we'll continue with some other topics only. So as part of today's session, we'll try to understand how to copy files from your folder to bucket. So here indirectly I want to copy the multiple files. As part of yesterday's example, we discussed about how to copy a single file from local disk to our GCS bucket. But now my requirement is how to copy the files from a folder to bucket. So here I want to copy multiple files. Okay. So now for example, in my D drive, under Qt folder, under Python folder, for example, we are having the folder called as a JSON folder. In this JSON folder, for example, total I'm having the 5 JSON files. Now my requirement is I want to copy these 5 files into bucket. So this is my requirement. Now actually yesterday what we have done, we copied the single file to our GCS bucket by using the Python code. Now as part of today's example, I want to copy the multiple files from the folder to the bucket, or in this folder, whatever the number of files, if it is the 5 files or 10 files or 20 files only, whatever the number of files we are having, I want to copy all those files into the bucket, and I want to perform this operation by using Python. Now, if you remember, as part of yesterday's session, we discussed about whenever you want to copy the file from the local disk to our GCS bucket, what all are the operations we need to perform? Please try to recap. First step, we need to create the bucket object. So before this, what in able to say, we need to create GCS client object. This is the first step. With the help of the GCS client object, what's the next step here? We need to create the bucket object. After that, here I can able to say by using GCS client object. With the help of the GCS client object, we need to create the bucket object. After that, we need to create blob object by using what? By using bucket object. So here everything just step-by-step operation. First, we need to create the GCS client object. By using that, we need to create the bucket object. Then by using the bucket object, we need to create the blob object. Now, within the blob object, by using upload file function, copy file from local to GCS bucket. Okay, so these are the operations we performed as part of copying the single file. Now, if you want to copy the multiple files also, we have to perform the same operations. But other than these operations, we need to perform some more extra operations only, because here what we need to do here, we need to copy the multiple JSON files by depending on the requirement. So if you remember, yesterday, if you remember, so we are creating the blob object. As part of creation of the blob object, we given some information. What is the information we given? So we given file name with path. As part of creation of the blob object, what we did here, we given the blob we created the blob object by giving the information called as a file name with the path only. Now today also we need to create the blob object, but in this blob object we need to give the file name with the path. But tell me, as part of today's example, you want to copy the single file or you want to copy the multiple files? We need to copy the multiple files. And one more thing here, as part of today's example, I will go step by step. Step 1, I need to fetch all the file names from my local folder. So why we are doing this operation? I want to perform this whole operation by using the Python programming, which is nothing but I want to automate the process with the help of the Python programming. Automatically, I want to copy all these files into the GCS bucket. To perform that operation, what we need to do here? First step, we need to fetch all the file names from the local folder. For the purpose of doing this operation, in the Python, we are having a module called as a glob module. With the help of this glob module, you can able to read all the files information from your folder. Whenever you want to fetch the file names from the folder, from the local folder, in Python, we are having a module called as a glob module. With the help of this module, you can able to fetch all the file names. Okay, now for example, I am having the file name like this. So I want to fetch all the file names automatically with the help of my Python code. This is the step 1. Now coming to step 2, what we need to do here is we need to verify whether given object is a file or not. So what the next step here? We need to verify whether given object is a file or not. So actually, whatever the folder we are having, for example, in this folder, we are having other than all these files. So this is the way I am having the one more subfolder called as a JSON1 folder. In this JSON1 folder, I don't have any files handy. But if you see here, in this JSON folder, in the main JSON folder, we are having the 5 files. And what is the next one we are having? This is a file or this is a folder? This is a folder. This is not a file. So we given the slash here, which is nothing but JSON1 is a folder. Now by using the glob module, what we can do here is we can able to fetch all the objects information, or you can able to fetch all the details information from your local folder. As part of fetching this information, it is fetching all the files at the same time. It is fetching the folders information also. But as per our requirement, you want to copy only the files or you want to copy the folders also. Here requirement is I want to copy only the files, and for the reason in the step 1 we are fetching all the information whatever we are having in the JSON folder. After fetching all this information, we need to verify whether this is a file or not. Second one is a file or not. Third one is a file or not. Fourth one is a file or not. Fifth one is a file or not. If it is a file, then only I want to perform the copy operation. If it is a file, then only do copy operation. Other than file, if you are having any folders, I don't want to perform any kind of copy operation. Indirectly, after receiving all these details, what is the next thing we need to verify? We need to verify whether this is a file or this is a folder. If it is a file, then only we need to perform the required operation. So in the Python code, we have to mention that we need to write one line of the code to ensure that whether given object is a file or not. If it is a file, then only we are going to perform the copy operation. This is the second step. Now coming to third step, what we need to do here is we need to create bucket object. So how to create the bucket object? If you remember, just we are going to use some name bucket. After that, we need to specify the GCS client object. On top of that, we are having the one method called as a get underscore bucket. Here we are going to provide our bucket name. Now, what is the bucket name we need to provide here? Which bucket name we need to provide? In whatever the bucket you want to copy the files information, that bucket name we need to provide as part of this line of the code. Indirectly here, we are going to create the bucket object. On top of the bucket where you want to copy the files, on top of that bucket name, we need to create the bucket object. After that, we need to create blob object. Now here just I'm giving blob. After that, we are giving bucket dot. So here we need to create the blob object. So by given the method, we can able to create the blob object. But now you tell me here, what is the name we need to provide as part of this example? We need to create the blob object obviously, but what is the name we need to provide as part of this blob object? You people try to give the answer, whomever attended the yesterday afternoon session. In the blob object, what is the name we need to pass?
Whatever you want the folder names.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we can able to give any name and it, but whatever the information we are giving here, based on that, it is going to create the folders and it is going to copy the file names. Now, for example, here I'm giving like this. Now, what will happen? As part of creation of the object, I am giving the name like this. If I'm going to give the name like this, what will happen? In this bucket, it will create the Python folder. In that Python folder, it is going to create the JSON folder. In that JSON folder, it is copying the file name called as nothing but file1.json. But tell me here, you want to perform this operation only one time or you want to perform this operation multiple number of times? We need to perform this operation total 5 number of times only, because you need to copy the single file or you need to copy the multiple files. I need to copy the multiple files. For the reason, whatever the line we have written here, indirectly we need to run the same line total 5 number of times only. But actually, if you want to run manually, what we have to do here, we need to change the file name and we need to run it. Again, file 3 run it, file 4 run it. But I don't want to do this activity manually. I want to do this operation automatically. So for that reason, what we can do here is, we can able to apply the for loop. I can able to say for file in, I will give file list. So if I'm given the for loop, what will happen? It is going to perform the repetitive operation on top of the file list. Now in this file list, what I will store, whatever the file names we are getting in the step 1, I will store all these file names into the file list. On top of that file list, I am going to perform the looping operation. With the help of the looping operation, in first iteration, it will take the first file name, second iteration, second file name, third iteration, third file name. So like that, it is going to take the each and every file name. After that, it is going to perform the copy operation. I will show you the code completely, but try to understand what operations we need to perform as part of this whole exercise. With that, we can able to understand the code very properly. So first step, we need to get all the files information. After that, we need to verify whether all these are files or not. Next thing, we need to create the bucket object. After that, we need to create the blob object. After creation of the blob object, by using this, we need to upload the file. And as part of uploading the file, what we need to do here? We need to provide the path of the file. We need to provide path of the file. Now, first file, we need to give the path and we need to copy to this path. Second file, we need to give, again, we need to copy. Third file, we need to give, we need to copy. But instead of doing this operation manually multiple times only, simply we are going to apply the for loop. With the help of the for loop, what I will do here, I will perform the repetitive operation. With that, automatically we can able to copy all the files as per our requirement. But tell me here, we need to pass this information indirectly. Whatever the folder structure we are having in the local system, I want to provide that information automatically. Here I'm giving this value manually, but instead of giving this value manually, I want to give this information automatically. Then what we can do? Any guesses? I want to perform this operation automatically. So indirectly here, I will create a file list. In this file list, we are having all these file names.
So while execution, it will go to this file and perform the operations.
So here in the step 1, whatever the files we are getting, we are going to store all those files information into your file list. Okay. Now, as part of iteration of this loop, what I'm giving here for file in file list, which is nothing but it is iterating for your each and every element. And in the first iteration, what will happen? It will take file name is like this. But it is taken the file name is like this, but here you want to give the complete path in the blob object, or you want to give the only partial path. I want to give only partial path, only this path I want to provide in the blob object. But how we can able to provide the only partial path here? For the purpose of giving only this partial path only. So in the Python side, what we will do here is on top of this file, we are going to perform split operation. So what we are going to do here, simply we are going to perform the split operation on top of this file name. First loop, it is going to take the file name like this. On top of this file name, we are going to perform the split operation. Now coming to split, what is the delimiter we are giving? We are given the slash as a delimiter. Once we are going to apply the split function, what will happen is, it will take D separately, it will take Qt separately, then it will take Python separately, then it will take JSON value separately, then it will take file1.json separately. So like this, what's happening here? On top of iteration, once it is going to get the first object, first element, on top of that element, we are going to perform the splitting operation. As part of splitting, I'm giving the slash symbol. So why we are giving the slash symbol? Because in the name, we are having the slash as a delimiter. For that reason, we are given the slash as a delimiter here. With that, what will happen? It is splitting all the names like this. And after splitting, what will happen here is, it is going to create the one more list. In this list, now we can able to see D, Qt, Python, JSON. Then we can able to see the file1.json. Now, as per our requirement, what we need to do here, I want to combine only these three values. So for that reason, what we can do here is, we have to specify x of 3. We can able to specify x of 3. And here we are having one more function called as nothing but join function. With the help of the join function, now what I will do here is, I will give it as a slash symbol. Now here I am giving x of 3 colon. Now tell me what is the meaning of this x of 3 colon. Sorry, it's my mistake. Here I am giving 2. Now tell me any cases, what is the meaning of x of 2 colon? Forgot about this join operation. What is the meaning of x of 2 colon here?
From 2
From
onwards
the
into
second
the
element to the
This is
first
the one
element.
of the operation we discussed in the previous classes, and we discussed
Slicing.
about the string slicing operation, and we discussed about the list slicing operation. Whenever we are given the file dot split, what's happening here? It is creating a list like this. This entire list is storing in the variable called as a, for example, x. Now from this x list, we are giving it as a x of 2 colon. 2 colon is nothing but it is taking the values from the second element onwards. Second element onwards, till where it will take the value? It will take all the values, because we given the only starting position, we haven't given any ending position. And for that reason, from the second element, it will take all the values. Now what is my requirement? After taking all these values, I want to combine all these values with the slash symbol. For that reason, here just we are going to use the function called as a join function. Now with the help of this, what will happen? We can able to get output is nothing but python slash json slash, we are getting it as a file1.json. So this is the information, you can able to get it automatically. Now this is the value we are passing on top of your blob. Indirectly what we'll do here is, I will put all this code here. As part of writing the code, we are going to put all the lines of the code here. Now what is going to happen? Your for loop will iterate. It is iterating on top of your file list, and it is taken the first element. It is given the variable called as a file name. On top of this first element, it is performing the splitting operation. With that, it is creating the list called as a x. On top of that, we are performing the join operation. With that, you can able to get this result, and this result we are passing as input to your blob. Now what I will do here, for example, I will give the variable called as a y. Now here simply I will give it as a y. Now coming to here, I am given the path, which is nothing but I am given the file. Now see here indirectly what I'm doing here, I am automating the complete process only. Now as part of this iteration, in the first iteration, it will take these values. It is performing the splitting operation. After that, it is performing the joining operation by using the slash symbol. Then we are giving this information on top of your blob object. After that, by using the blob object, we are going to upload the file. As part of uploading the file, we need to provide the complete path of the file. That's the reason here directly we are giving the file value. Now what is the meaning of file? Is nothing but your first element. Now tell me, this iteration will run for how many number of times? First element, it will do all the operations. Again, coming to second element, it will perform the same operation. Third element, do the same operation. Fourth element and fifth element, for every element, it is going to perform the same operation. What is the meaning of same operation? For every element, it is performing the split. It is applying the slash. Then it is creating the blob object. After that, it will upload the file. First element is completed. Then in the second iteration, it will take the second value. It will perform the same operation. Third iteration, it will do the same value operation. Fourth iteration, it will take the fourth element. On top of this element, again, it is going to perform the splitting, joining, creation of the blob object, and uploading the file. Like that, because of giving this for loop, whatever the number of files we are having in the list, and for each and every element, it is going to perform the repetitive operation. With that, it will copy all the files on top of your GCS bucket. So this is the way we need to understand how we need to build the code as part of this whole exercise. Just I'm repeating one more time, Andy. First step is nothing but from the local folder, we need to retrieve all the files information. For that, we are using the module called as a glob module. With this module, we can able to fetch all this information. On top of this all information, we are going to create the list. After that, what we are doing here, we need to verify all these files are nothing but whether it's a file or not. So that is the one more operation we are going to perform. Then we are going to create the bucket object. After that, we are going to perform the loop operation. In this loop operation, we need to create the blob object and we need to perform the uploading the file. But as part of given the blob object, we need to specify the path and file name. For that reason, we are performing the splitting operation and we are performing the joining operation. With that, you can able to pass the value into your blob object. After that, with the help of the blob object, we can able to perform the upload file operation. All these are the operations we are going to perform as part of this exercise. Okay. Before going to the practical study, any questions up to here, please ask me. If you understand the steps, then understanding the code will becomes as a very easy. If you are unable to understand the step study, then what will happen? Understanding the code will becomes as a kind of a tricky operation. That's the reason. If you have any questions on top of this entire steps, please ask me.
Sir, why we are taking x of 2 from Python JSON file 1?
No, because here my requirement is I want to give the path information like this. So here I'm giving the x of 2. Why I'm giving the x of 2 only? Because I want to give the path in the blob object as python slash json slash file1.json. Indirectly, as part of uploading the file in the GCS bucket, I want to create the folder name as a Python. In the Python, I want to create the JSON folder. In the JSON folder, I want to give the file name as a file1.json. That's the reason I am taking the values from the second element. For example, your requirement is you want to give the name like this. Then you tell me what's the value we need to give here. I want to give it as a qt slash python slash json slash file1.json. Then what we can do? Then you can able to give it as a 1. Okay, don't think that compulsory we have to give the 2 or compulsory we have to give the 3 and D. By depending on your requirement, whatever the path you want to create on top of your GCS bucket, based on that, you can able to specify the number. We are splitting. After splitting, we are getting all these values individually. My requirement is from here, I want to take the path. For that reason, I given the 2. But if you want to take the path from here, then you can able to give it as a 1 colon. With that, it is taking the path as a qt slash python slash json. Otherwise, if you want, what we can do, we can give it as a 0 also. If I'm giving the 0, what will happen? In the GCS bucket, it will create the folder D. In that, it will create the Qt. In that, it will create the Python. In that, it will create the JSON. Like that, it is going to create the multiple folders. Based on that, it will copy the file1.json on top of your target bucket. Indirectly, by depending on our requirement, either give it as a 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 by depending on your convenience. Now, for example, I am given the 3. Now, tell me what will happen.
From JSON.
It will take only from the JSON. So for that reason, we are given the 2 or 3 or 1 by depending on our requirement. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other
Sir,
questions?
if we are taking like we are changing our path, right? So how can we get our files?
How we can able to get the file? So see what we are doing here. If you observe, I am iterating what? File list. Where we are creating this file list? In the step 1, after reading all the files from the folder, we are creating the file list. Indirectly, in this file list, what we are having? You are having all the list of the files. On top of this file list, we are performing the loop operation with the help of the first statement and D. So coming to first step, it is taking the first file. It is performing splitting operation. After that, it is taking the values from the second element. With that, it is taking this value. Okay. Now coming to second iteration, what will happen? It will take this one. Now on top of this, it is going to perform the splitting operation. Now with this X, what's the value it will get? D, Qt, Python, JSON. Now instead of file1, we are getting it as a file2.json. After that, again, we are going to perform the join operation. Once it is going to perform the join operation on top of this file name, it is taking this value as a 2. Indirectly, are we passing the file names manually or it is taking all the file names from the file list? It is taking all the names automatically from the file list. For the purpose of taking this automatically, we are applying the for loop. With the help of the for loop, it will iterate all the elements in the file list. With that, it is performing all these operations on top of your each and every element. Just for understanding, here I'm putting all these values like this, but internally, it will perform all these operations by using our split operation and by using join operation, by using our block objects. Is it clear? Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, a small question, please.
Yeah, please.
Sir, here the file list is string array, right?
Sorry, come again.
String list. It's a type string list, sir.
File is a... No, I didn't get that. What is the string list?
The file list.
Yeah,
We
file
are
list. Okay.
storing the string values.
Okay.
So can't we apply the substring function, sir?
Yeah, we can apply the substring because see, indirectly in the file list we are having element, right? Every element is nothing but is a kind of a string value. On top of this string, you can able to perform the string operations also by depending on our requirement.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we'll see everything in the practical way only. Just I'm going to open my notebook. So actually, whatever the notebook which I shared yesterday to you already, in that notebook you can able to see all the lines of the code only. So here I given the comment as how to upload multiple files from the local to our GCS. From that line onwards, you can able to see all the lines of the code already whatever we discussed in the notepad before few minutes only. Now you can able to see the lines of the code. So by using this line of the code, you only try to give the answer. What operation we are doing? If you observe, try to recap whatever the steps we discussed. I want first step one is nothing but I want to read all the files from a
Copying all
particular
files.
path. For that, we are using the module called as a glob module. With the help of the glob module, we can able to perform this operation. For that reason, we are importing the glob module, and after that, we are creating the list name. So here, what is the list name I given? In the notepad, I given the file list, but here I'm creating the list name is nothing but items only. This is the list name. Now here we are given the method called as a glob.glob. Here we need to provide the path from which path you want to read all the files only. Now from the path, if you want to perform the recursive operation, then we are given the argument called as a recursive is equal to true. But tell me, what is the meaning of recursive operation here? Any guesses? In this path, for example, in the JSON path, we are having the A folder. In the A folder, we are having some files. We are having the B folder. In the B folder, we are having some files. Our requirement is I want to copy all the files from the subfolders also. Whenever we are having that requirement, simply we can able to give it as a recursive is equal to true. Now, just I will show you what are the files we are having in this path only. So please focus here. After that, I will give the time for you for the purpose of doing your practice. Just focus. So in the data prop, in the JSON, we are having total 5 JSON files. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are having total 5 JSON files. Now I'm going to run this line of the code. So this is ran. Now after that, I am given the print of items. As we discussed, what is the output it will display? See here, it is given the output as a list. In this list, you can able to see all the elements and you can able to see first JSON file, second JSON, third JSON, fourth JSON, and fifth JSON. But if you observe here, other than all the JSON files, it is given the one more element. What is this element? Other than all the JSON file names, it is given the one more element as a /JSON. What is the /JSON? This is nothing but our folder name only. As part of this glob operation, it is given the folder name also. After that, it is giving all the file names. That's the reason in this list total we are having all the 6 elements. Okay. Now, if you want to see any one of the list value here, what we can do simply we can give it as a items of 0. If you see here, I'm giving this. What is the meaning of items of 0?
Folder name.
It is given the first element of your list. Now, just I will give it here. I'm giving print of item. If I'm given the print of item, it is given the first element. Now, if you see here, this is the first element. Now, this first element is a folder. This is a file.
Folder.
TQT data prop JSON is a file. Sorry, it's a folder. So first element is a folder. Now, as we discussed earlier, what we need to do here, we need to verify whether every element is a file or every element is a folder. If it is a file, then only I want to perform the remaining operation. If it is a folder, I don't want to perform any other operations. And for that reason, to verify whether it is a file or not, here we are using the one more method called as a isFile method. By using the isFile method, we are going to verify whether this element is nothing but folder or file only. Now, if you observe in this item, what we are having? We are having the complete list and we are having the only one element of the list. I given the items of 0. Items of 0 is nothing but it is taken the first element. Indirectly in this item variable, you are having the only this variable. This is the folder or file. This is the folder. Now, by using this line of the code, I am going to verify whether this is a file or this is a folder. So just we are using the module called as a OS module. There I am giving the function called as a isFile function. This function is going to verify whether this value is a folder or this value is a file only. Now just observe. What's happening? We are getting the value as a false. What is the meaning of false? What is the meaning of false here? This is not a file. Okay. Now, for example, here I'm given the items of 1. Now, you tell me if I'm given the items of 1 here, what is the value it will take? It will take the first element. Now, just we'll do one by one operation. I'm running this. Now, if I'm given the print of item, it is taking the file name as a customer_lo.json. Now, on top of this item, again, I'm going to run this line of the code. Now, in any cases, what is the output we are going to get? We'll get the false or true.
True.
See, this is a file because now I given the first element of the list. First element is nothing but the JSON file only. So that's the reason when we are giving this element as an input to this isFile function, it is given the value called as a true. This is the way you need to understand how we can able to verify whether given element is a folder or given element is a file information. That is the one we need to verify. But see here, now we need to perform this check for single element, or we need to perform this operation for all the elements here.
All the elements.
We need to verify this is file operation, or we need to perform this is file operation for one element or two elements, or for all the elements we need to perform this operation. For every element, we have to perform this operation. Now, after performing this operation for every element, which values you want to pick? You want to pick the file names, or you want to pick the folder name also? I want to pick only file names as per the requirement. Now, indirectly, if you observe here, on top of this list, I want to perform the repetitive operation. As part of doing the repetitive operation, I need to verify whether it is a file or not. After that, I need to pick only the file values into the other list only for the purpose of doing this operation. If you want, what we can do here, we can able to write the for loop. By using the for loop, you can able to do all these operations. But if you remember, in the previous classes we discussed, instead of using the for loop, or instead of complicating the code, to simplify the code, what we can do, any guesses?
Anonymous
Lambda
function.
function.
We are going to use the function called as a lambda function. Now you try to give the answer. Whenever we are going to give the lambda function, how we need to give the lambda function? For example, I want to perform the addition between the x comma y. That is the requirement. Then how we need to give the lambda function? Please try to recap the previous classes. I want to do addition between x and y. Then how to give the lambda function?
Lambda x comma y colon x plus
y. Then give it as a x plus y. This is the way simply we can able to do the addition operation. In the same way, I want to do the square operation. What we can do? Give it as lambda x colon x star x. Okay. Now in the same way, here my requirement is in the list for every file, I want to verify whether it is a file or not. So for that reason, what we can do here, I will give it as a lambda. I'm giving the item, or I will give it as a file. After that, we will give it as a function called as a is file of file. So what I'm doing here, I am given the variable. On top of this variable, I want to perform the is file operation. Now tell me here, where we are having all these file names, if you remember, in the list. So we need to provide that list name. Now, after checking the is file operation, what operation you want to perform? You want to perform the filtering operation. If you remember earlier also we discussed already, on top of the lambda, we can able to perform the filter operation. But tell me, if you want to perform the filter operation on top of this lambda, how we need to write the code? Sir, don't ask these questions, Sandra. What we have to do? Simply give it as a filter of. We are giving this entire lambda function within the bracket only. Indirectly, whatever the result we are getting here, on top of this result, we are applying the filter. Now it is given the true value, or it is given the false value for each and every element which are present in the list. If you are given the filter, what will happen? It will take the only true related values only. Now, after picking the true related values, what I want to do here, by using all those file names, I want to create the one more list. Now, indirectly, whatever the output we are getting with the help of this statement, on top of that, I want to create the one more list. Now you tell me how to create the list by using this line of the code. That also we discussed in the previous classes.
List of.
So just you have to give it as
List of.
a list of. That's it. So indirectly, with the help of the single line of the code, you can able to verify whether all the files are really file names or not. At the same time, we are going to perform the filtering operation. With that, you are fetching the only file names. On top of that, you are creating the list by using the method called as a list method. Indirectly, if you observe only, in this line of the code, we are not at all discussing anything. Only one new thing we are discussing it as a is file operation, except that lambda operation, filter operation, list operation, already we covered as part of the previous classes. Indirectly, I am trying to utilize all the previous topics as part of this whole exercise. For that reason, overall, what we are doing here, I am going to write the code like this. If you observe, I am writing the same code only. Lambda, we are given the item. After that, we are given the is file function. I want to perform this whole operation on top of the list called as a items. On top of that, I want to perform the filter operation. On top of that, I want to create the list. For that list, we are given the variable name called as a files only. Now just I will run this. Execution completed. Now tell me, if I'm given the print of files, what's the value we are going to get? Any guesses? How many values it will display if I'm given the print of files?
Files.
File.
Not
Display
files.
file. So you see here, Earlier in the list, actually, we are having total 6 only, but on top of this list, we are verifying the isFile operation. After that, I am creating the one more list. Now, in this list, we can able to see only the file names because we are filtering the only file names in the combination of lambda and filter function. With that, you can able to get all the file names on top of your files list. Now, with this files list, if you are given the print operation, you can able to see only the file names. And if you observe one more thing here, in this path, if you see, for D drive, Qt folder, data proc, everywhere we are having the slash symbol properly. But coming to customer, here we are having the forward slash and we are having the backward slashes. I am having the backward slashes only. Now my requirement is in each and every file name, I want to replace the backward slashes with the forward slashes. See, for example, we are having one list called as a files list. Now in this list, every file name is having backward slashes. Now I want to replace these backward slashes with the forward slashes. Okay. Now you tell me how we can able to perform this operation in the single line of the code. On top of this, again, I want to create the one more list. In the files list, we are having all the file names. But if you see here, every file name is going to contain the slash symbol, backward slashes only. But my requirement is I want to replace these backward slashes with the forward slashes. Now I want to perform this operation for each and every element here. In that situation, what we can do? One operation, you can go for the for loop. With the help of the for loop, you can able to perform this operation. But I don't want to go for the for loop. I want to perform this operation also with the help of the lambda. Then you tell me how we can able to write the lambda function for this one. I'm giving lambda again. I'm giving file. Now on top of this file, what operation we need to perform? We need to perform the replace operation. So simply I'm giving file of file dot replace. After that, I want to replace double slash with single forward slash. So we are having the replace function. With the help of the replace function, we can able to perform the replace. In the replace function, we are given the I want to replace backward slashes with the single slash only. But tell me, if I'm going to give the lambda function like this, what will happen? For each and every file, it is going to perform this replace operation. Now you want to perform this operation on what? I want to perform this operation on top of the files. Now you tell me, you want to perform the filtering operation or you want to perform this operation for each and every element in the list? I want to perform this operation for each and every element which is present in the list. For the purpose of doing this operation, we need to use the lambda with filter or we need to use the lambda with the map. What
Map,
we apply?
map,
We need to
map.
apply map. So with the help of the map, we can able to perform this operation because here I don't want to perform any filtering operations only. I want to perform this operation on top of the each and every element in the list. For the reason, we need to apply the map. Now what will happen? You can able to get the result by replacing the forward backward slashes as a forward slash. Now on top of this result, I want to create the list one more time. So what we need to do? Again, we have to give the list
of.
Give it as a list function. With that, what will happen? For every element, it is replacing the double slashes with the forward slash only. For the purpose of doing that operation, we are writing this single line of the code. Now, you tell me, without using the lambda, how we can able to achieve the same requirement if you want? By using the for loop, you can able to write the code, but you have to go for the 5 to 6 lines of code. Instead of that, with the single line of the code, we can able to perform all this operation. That's the reason here we are applying the lambda in the combination of the map function. So just go back here if you see. This is the line of the code only. Sorry, this one. We are replacing backward slashes with the forward slash on top of this list. On top of this list, whatever the files list we are having, on top of this, we are performing this operation. After that, I am creating the list called as a files one. Just I will run this line of the code. You can give the print of files. Now see what's happening. We are getting the same number of elements, but in the previous list, what we are having the backward slashes. Now we are having the forward slash. So this is the way we can able to convert backward slashes with the forward slash by depending on our requirement. All these are the things we need to understand by depending on our requirement. Okay. Now tell me, as we discussed earlier, in the blob object, what we are going to pass? In the blob object, we are given the complete path, or you want to give the only partial path in the blob object. In the blob object, for example, I want to give the only partial path. Now in this example, I want to give the path from here. Only this is the name I want to give in the blob object. This is the name, and here also this is the name, and here also this is the name. For the purpose of doing this operation, what we discussed, Randy? First thing, we need to fetch this value. On top of this value, we need to perform the splitting operation. On top of that result, we are going to perform the join operation. We'll take one element and we'll see this operation. Here I'm giving x equal to files 1 of 0. What is the meaning of files 1 of 0?
Gen-
It is taking first element. Okay, just for example, I am taking the one element. We'll see on single element what is going to happen. Just I will run this. Then I'm giving print of x. Now what's happening? It is taking the first element. Now with this element, we are having all the slashes and d. Now on top of that, we are going to apply the split function. Now see what will happen. What's happening? It is creating a list. In this list, it is taking D separately, Qt separately, data proc separately, JSON separately, and customer algo.json separately. But my requirement here is in the blob object, I want to keep it as a JSON/customer underscore algo.json. For that reason, what is the position of this JSON? 0, 1, 2. That's the reason we are giving the 3 colon, and I'm giving it as a I'm giving this one. Now see, if I'm given the 3 colon, what's happening? It is taking the value for third element onwards. It is taking the third element and it is taking the fourth element. But you want to get the elements or you want to combine this element with the slash symbol. I want to combine all these elements with the slash symbol. For that reason, we are applying the function called as a join function. Now if you see, if I'm going to run this one, what's happening? We are getting output as a JSON/customer underscore algo.json. This is the value we are going to assign to our object. But you tell me, we need to perform this operation for only single element or we need to perform this operation for all the elements?
All the elements.
We need to perform this operation for all the elements only. For that reason, again we can go for loop or we can able to apply the lambda function. Indirectly, whatever we discussed in the notepad, same thing I'm trying to explain on top of the notebook. But in the notebook, I written the one line of the code for every statement or every step. With that, we are performing all these operations only. Now, finally, what I'm doing here is whatever the steps we discussed so far, I am putting all the steps at a place. So see here. Now go one by one. In the first step, what we are doing, try to recap. Otherwise, what I will do here is just 1 second. I will put this also here only.
Sir, what is this OS.path?
So this one, so this is the, so if you want to retrieve the file information, we need to use the module called as a OS module. So actually, if you want to retrieve all the files information, which module we are using the glob module. In the same way, if you want to verify whether a particular file is a file or not, we are using the isFile function. But this function is available in which module? It is available in the module called as a OS module. Within the OS, we are having the submodule called as a path. In that path, we are having the function called as a isFile function. To use this isFile function, we are using the OS module. Within the OS module, we are using the submodule called as a path module. From that, we are using the isFile function. With that, we are verifying whether really that is a file or not. Okay. Now, if you observe me, so far, whatever the steps we discussed individually, I combined all those steps into the single program like this. If you see first line, what we are doing, you try to do the answers now. In the first line of the code, what we are doing in this one?
Fetching files, all files.
We are fetching the files from our local path. Okay, in this data proc JSON, we are having total 5 files only. I am trying to fetch all the files information in the first line of the code. Now, in the second line of the code, what we are doing? Don't see the comment, try to give the answer because already we discussed about all these things.
Files are not.
Whatever the files we received or whatever the list we created on top of the file names, on top of that list, we are performing the lambda operation. With this lambda operation, we are verifying every item is a file or not. If it is a file, then we are performing the filter. On top of that, we are creating the list called as a files. After that, what we noticed? In the file path, we are having the double slashes. I want to replace the double slash with the forward slash only. For that reason, we are again applying the lambda function by using the map. On top of that, we are going to create the one more list. In this list, what we are having? We are having the path without having double slashes. We are having the forward slash. That is the one more line of the code we included here. After that, as we discussed earlier, if you want to upload the file, first what we need to do here, we need to create the bucket object. So this is the bucket object. Now using this bucket object, in which bucket I am going to create performing all the uploading the files only? I given my bucket name is nothing but GCS Python CDE. So by using this bucket, I am trying to upload all my files. Okay. After that, here I'm given the folder name is nothing but GCS Python / in this folder, I want to create the subfolders. For the reason, just we are given the folder name is nothing but bucket folder name. After that, we are performing the for loop. Now we are doing the for loop on what? On top of this, wherever we replace the double slashes with the single slash, on top of that we are performing the for loop. Now as part of doing the for loop, what I'm doing here, I am performing the splitting operation. With that, we are going to perform the join operation. With that, what will happen, you can able to get the partial path. Now on top of the partial path, we are performing the string concatenation. We are performing the concatenation with the folder name and with our subpath. That value we are giving as input to the blob object. Then after creation of this blob object, in the blob object, we are having the function called as a upload from the file name. That upload operation we are using for the purpose of uploading the file. Indirectly, whatever the lines of the code we discussed so far, and we combined all the lines of the code into the single cell. With that, you can able to run all the lines at a time by depending on our requirement. Okay. Now, any questions if you are having so far, again, please ask me. Or I can able to say whatever the steps we discussed on the notepad or whatever the steps we discussed individually in the notebook, we combine all those steps into the single program like this or into the single cell like this only. Now, if I'm going to run this cell, what will happen? It will perform all these operations. With that, it will upload the files on top of your target bucket. Yeah, someone is trying to ask a question. Please ask me now.
Sir, items is equal to glob.glob. We are fetching all files, right? By default, it is fetching with the folder name, right?
Yes, correct. By default, it is fetching the folder name also. That's the reason to verify that the element is a folder or that element is a file. What I'm doing here, I am using the function called as a isFile function. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
So the recurrency
Please
is
go
true.
through. Yeah. Recursive
So
true is nothing
it's a
but.
looping.
So
looping.
yeah, it's a looping. But see here, if I'm not given the recursive is equal to true, what will happen? In this JSON folder, whatever the files we are having, it will take only those files only. Now, for example, in this JSON folder, I am having the subfolder like this. I'm having the A. Then I'm having B. Now, in this A, for example, I am having this file. In the B also, I'm having this file. Now, for example, your requirement is in this JSON folder, you want to upload these files. At the same time, you want to go to the A folder. In the A folder, you want to copy this file to the GCS bucket. In the B folder also, you want to copy this file to the GCS bucket. Indirectly, what I'm doing? You need to go to JSON folder. Within the JSON folder, whatever the subfolders we are having, we need to go through your each and every subfolder also. Indirectly, you want to perform this operation as a recursive way only. For the purpose of doing that kind of recursive operation, here we are giving it as a recursive is equal to true. For example, your requirement is you don't want to perform the recursive operation. You want to copy only these files from the JSON folder. Then what we can do here, just keep it as a recursive is equal to false. If I'm given the recursive is equal to false, what will happen? It will take file names only from the JSON folder. It will not go to the subfolder. By depending on the requirement, either we can give it as a recursive is equal to true or we can able to give recursive is equal to false. Is it clear?
Yeah, clear, sir. Got it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if you don't have any questions, I will run this code. But before running the code, what I need to do here, I need to go to this path. In this bucket, I will remove all the existing files under in this bucket. This is my bucket. Just I'm deleting all these things. Okay, now I don't have any files here. Now I'm going here. Now, if you observe here in the print statement, what I'm doing, just I want to see the status only. So I want to see which file is uploading currently. That's the reason just I'm given the print statement called as a uploading file plus file. What is the meaning of file here? In the first iteration, it will take the first file. In the second iteration, it will take the second file. For every iteration, it will give the print statement. With the print statement, you can able to understand which file is uploading to your target bucket. Now just I'm running this whole cell. Click on run button. See here, uploading the file 1, uploading the file 2, uploading file 3, uploading file 4, and uploading file 5. All the files are uploaded to your target bucket. Now you try to give the answer in the target bucket. What is the path we are going to see? Please see this complete code and try to give the answer. In the target bucket, what is the path we are going to see, or what is the folder structure we are going to see in the target bucket?
Python is the folder.
GCS Python, then JSON.
Yeah, so here to understand that we need to refer what is the name we given in the blob object. In the blob object, what I given? Blob name variable. In this blob name variable, if you observe what I'm doing here, I am concatenating bucket folder with the blob suffix and in the bucket folder, what's the value we given? GCS Python, which is nothing but in the bucket. First, it will create the folder called as a GCS Python. In that, it is taken the blob suffix. In the blob suffix, what we given? From the third element, which is nothing but 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So we are going to see the JSON folder. So we are going to see the GCS Python. In that GCS Python, we are going to see the JSON folder. In that JSON folder, we can able to see all the list of the files and now just we'll go to the bucket. Just refresh. Now see, first folder is the GCS Python. Within this, you can able to see JSON. Now within the JSON, you can able to see all the 5 files. So this is the way you can able to understand how we can able to upload the files on top of your bucket. Here you need to understand two things mainly, Andy. What is the requirement here? For the purpose of achieving this requirement, what all are the steps we performed as part of our requirement? So, and to achieve that requirement, what all are the different functions we applied? Now, by seeing all these lines of the code, you tell me, are we discussing any new function as part of this entire code here? Compared to till yesterday class, whatever the topics we discussed in the Python, other than those topics, Andy, in all these lines, are we discussing any new topic, any new function, except the is file and except the glob? You know list already. We discussed about lambda function already, and we discussed about the bucket object already. We discussed about the for loop already. We discussed about the blob object already. We discussed about the upload from file name function already in the yesterday session. Then why we are discussing again this example? With this example, I want to showcase you in the real time how we are going to utilize all the functions, whatever we discussed already. So indirectly, in the previous classes, we are discussing one by one function. But if you are going to work in the real time, we are not going to use the individual functions. We are going to combine multiple topics into the single topic. With that, we are going to write the code. With that, you can able to achieve the requirement. For that reason, that is the one more reason to discuss about this whole example. With the single example, you can able to recap the list. You can able to recap the for loop. You can able to recap the lambda functions, lambda with the filter, lambda with the map. All those topics you can able to recap with the help of the single example. That is the reason I taken this exercise. One more reason, in the real time, whenever you want to copy the files from the local system to the bucket, if you want, you can perform the same operation from the console, or you can do the same operation from the cloud SDK. But in some of the projects, we need to perform this operation with the help of the Python code. That is the one more reason we discussed about this whole exercise as part of our class. Okay. Now, before moving further, any questions, please ask me. If you don't have the question, I will ask the questions. No question, right? Okay, I will ask the question, try to give the answer. Now we uploaded all these files into my bucket. Now my requirement is, by using the Python code, I want to see what all are the files we are having in the GCS Python CDE bucket. What is the code we need to write? I want to see what all are the files we are having in this bucket.
Dot show.
Dot show?
Yes. Bucket.
Get bucket.
Plus bucket? No.
GCS Python CD dot show.
Get bucket with print we can get.
Someone is
You
saying,
can use GS.
if someone is saying GCS Python CD dot show. What is the show only? So by the help of show, what will happen?
Whatever the files we have.
No, it will not display. So the Python we cannot able to do the operation with the help of show. Any other answers? Yeah. So see here, yesterday we discussed only, whenever you want to see the list of the files, what's the function we can able to use? List underscore blobs. Okay, with the help of this function, you can able to see all the list of the files which are present in the your bucket. Now here actually you can able to give the bucket name. After that, you can able to give the folder, from which folder you want to see the files only. Now for example, if I'm not going to give the preface, what will happen? it will display all the files directly on top of your bucket. But if I'm given the prefix, what will happen? It will check the files only in this bucket. So in this bucket, whatever the files we are having, if you want to get the list of the files, we can able to use the function called as a list underscore blocks function. Now, for example, I want to see the list of the buckets. Then what's the function we need to use? If you want to see the list of the buckets,
List
what is the
underscore
function?
bucket list.
Yeah, perfect, correct
List
answer. Yesterday we
underscore.
discussed and we can able to go for the list underscore bucket. Now I want to get the information for a particular bucket. Then which function we need to use? I want to fetch the details for a particular bucket. We can go for get underscore bucket only. So with the help of the get underscore bucket, we can able to do that operation. Now, for example, I forgot all the function names. How to get the function names? Yesterday we discussed
By
about that.
help.
Just give it as a your
GCS
client
GCS
object
client
dot
dot tab.
tab.
If you click on the tab, you can able to get all the list of the files, so list of the functions. See here, you can able to get all the list of the functions. If you want to create the bucket, use create bucket. And if you want to see the list of the files, we can able to list of the buckets, we can use the list buckets. And if you want to get a data for particular bucket, we can give it as a get underscore bucket. Indirectly, no need to remember all the function names. Definitely as a human, I also cannot able to remember all these function names only, but at least to try to remember the main functions. Now, as part of interview, you are saying that I perform this operation with the help of the Python code. Then he will ask the question, can you please tell me which functions you use for the purpose of doing uploading the file or uploading the data only? Then we should be in the position to give the answer at least for we are using the list bucket, we are using the list underscore block, we are given the get bucket, we are given the upload underscore file name. These are the some of the functions we use as part of writing the code. Definitely as a human, we cannot able to remember all the functions only, but at least to try to remember some few functions. With that, we can able to explain these kind of topics as part of our interview process. Now, just what I will do here is I will run this line and give the print of list. Now see, all these are the files which are having in this bucket. This is the way by using the list underscore blocks, we can able to get the files information on top of your bucket. Okay, so this is the way you can able to understand how we can able to copy the files, multiple files from the local folder to our GCS bucket only. Now, for example, you are having the files in the Unix box. Then what we can do? Can we able to perform the same operation or we cannot able to perform this operation? We are discussing uploading the files from the local folder to our GCS bucket. Now, for example, we are having all these files in the Unix server. Now, can we able to copy the files or not? By using same code. In the Unix server, we are having the multiple files. Now, by using the same code, can we able to copy the files from the Unix server to our GCS bucket?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we can able to copy it. So see here, what we can do here is, just I will copy all these lines. Now, yes, just we need to give the path. So in the Unix server, what will happen? You can able to see the path as home / username / then you can able to see your folder names, Python / for example, JSON. In this path, you are having all the files. So what I will do here, instead of giving the D drive, just you need to replace this name with this one. That's it. Okay, this is the way simply we can able to give the path. Whatever the path you are having in the Unix box only, that is the path we are going to provide. Now, my next question, from where we need to run this code? If you want to copy the files from the Unix server, are we going to run it from the Windows box or we need to run this code from the Unix box? You want to copy the files from the Unix path to the GCS bucket. So here, just what is the small change we are doing here? Instead of giving the D drive path, here I'm giving the Unix path here. Now after that, this is the code I want to run. Now, if you want to run these lines of the code, from where we need to run? From the Windows system we need to run or from the Unix shell we need to run? We need to run
Unix shell.
So we need to run below code from your Unix server, or we can able to call your Unix shell. Now, if you remember in the previous classes, already we discussed about the Unix shell only. How to get the Unix shell? By using the GCP. GCP nothing but by using the Google Cloud platform. How we can able to get the Unix shell? Don't ask me, sir, when we discuss.
Cloud shell.
Don't ask me the question. Before the Cloud shell, what we need to do?
Patti.
Through the putty
I
at the
want,
address.
yeah, we can use the putty, but if you want to use the putty, what is the before step? Putty is the correct answer, I will agree. But if you
The
want to use the putty,
configuration.
what is the
Create the
prerequisite?
partition. We need to create the partition key.
generate the
And,
Patti
generate the
generation key.
Yeah, generate the
Which
key.
key
Okay, you
will do?
generated the key, you are using the putty.
We-
But
we-
before doing these two operations, we have to perform the one more operation, one main operation.
in a CCP.
VM creation.
Yeah.
copying
No,
files.
no. VNCP,
You have
all
to
those are
create the
secondary
VM.
ID. So first step is nothing but
Creating virtual
we
machine.
need to create the
VM.
virtual machine because this is the main, right? So here you are working in your local laptop, but you want to get a server, which is nothing but you want to get a virtual machine. In that virtual machine, you are going to have the your Linux operating system. In that Linux operating system, you are going to maintain the Unix files only. Now, if you want to replicate all these operations, what is the prerequisite step? Putty is the correct answer. Putty Jenny is the correct answer. WinSCP is the correct answer. All these are correct answers. I'm not saying those are the not wrong answers only. Everything is correct answer. But to perform all these operations, what is the prerequisite here? Prerequisite is nothing but first we need to create the VM. How to create the VM in the GCP?
Compute engine.
So we need to use the service called as a compute engine
Compute
service. With the help of the compute engine service, you can able to create the VM. Now, as part of creation of the compute engine, now as per this requirement, which operating system we need to select? Windows operating system or Linux operating system? As per our requirement, we need to select the Linux operating system. With that, it will create a virtual machine. In that virtual machine, we can able to see the Linux operating system. Now, to access this VM, what we need to do? Now your partition
Generating key.
and putty, all these things will come to the picture now. Now in this putty, what we can do here? Here we can able to run below code. But tell me, before running the below code, do we need to perform any other operations on top of this putty?
Need to install Python on putty.
Yeah, perfect answer, Andy. So how to install the Python? If you remember, we discussed about the command called as a sudo space, awt space, install space, Python. By using this command, if you remember, coming to bash 19 and 20 people, both the people only, we discussed about the virtual machine. We discussed about how to open the virtual machine from the putty shell. After that, we discussed about how we can able to run the Unix commands. After that, we discussed about how we can able to install the Python in the virtual machine. If you remember, we did one more activity in the virtual machine. What was that? Other than Unix commands, other than Python commands, we did the one more activity in the virtual machine. Sir, we forgot the yesterday topic only. You are asking the topics from the last 20 days onwards, how we can able to remember.
Web application.
Yeah, so if you remember, we launched the web application. But if you want to learn the web application, what we need to install? We need to install the Apache 2 and indirectly in the virtual machine, you can able to perform any kind of operation. Now tell me, you want to run this code. Now you tell me what type of code it is. It is a Unix code or say Python code?
Sir, is that AWT or APT, sir? Sudo space.
Yeah, sorry, it's my mistake. So APT. Okay. Now tell me, this is the Python code or this is a kind of a Unix code or say web application code?
Python code.
Python code. So for that reason, you have to install the Python. Once installing the Python in this path, in a particular path, you can able to maintain the files, and with that, you can able to run all this code from your Unix prompt. With that, you can able to copy the files from your Unix system to your bucket. Also, indirectly, I'm trying to say with the same code, you can able to run the, you can able to copy the files from your local system to your GCS bucket, or if you want, we can able to copy the files from the Unix server to your GCS bucket. But in your Windows system, you are not having the Unix server. That's the reason, if you want to do this practice, you need to create the VM, then you need to generate the putty gen key, then you need to connect to the putty. In that putty, you have to install the Python. Then you can able to run all these lines of the code. With that, you can able to copy the files from our Unix system to our GCS bucket by depending on our requirements. Okay, so whatever the notepad I given to you, Andy, in that notepad, you can able to see all the lines of the code, whatever I explained here. Please run all those lines of the code. I will give 1 or 2 minutes of time. With that, please try to run all these lines of the code. Okay, and might be you will ask the question, sir, we don't have the files. Just do one thing, Andy, 1 second. Okay, so see here, I will send a zip file in the Telegram group. you need to download the zip file. Once you are going to download, you can able to get the folder called as a X folder. In this X folder, you can able to see the JSON folder and you can able to see the CSV folder. In the JSON folder, you can able to see all the JSON files, and in the CSV folder, you can able to see all the CSV files. Now, as part of the practice, you can able to copy all the files from the JSON folder to our GCS bucket. For that, I already given the code on top of our notebook. Now, exercise is after doing the practice for all the lines in the notebook. Next thing, please try to copy all the files from this CSV folder to your GCS bucket. That is the exercise, Andy. Now I will send this zip file to you. For batch 19 people, I think already you are having these files. Coming to batch 20 people, please use this zip file. Okay, so to do the practice, whatever the prerequisites are required, I given all the prerequisites, and in this x.zip file, you can able to see the JSON folder and you can able to see the CSV folder. By using the JSON folder, you can able to run all the lines of the code, whatever we are having in the notebook. That is the step 1. Coming to step 2, take it as an exercise. In the CSV folder, whatever the files we are having, I want to copy all these files on top of our bucket. That is the exercise I'm giving to you. After completion of the practice on top of the notebook code, then you can able to perform this exercise. Any question on these steps, please ask me again. Now tell me blindly, can you able to run all the lines, whatever we are having in the notebook, or you need to perform any kind of changes here? You need to perform any changes.
You need to change the path.
Please do the changes. And one thing, you have to change your bucket name in your GCS location or in your GCS account. Whatever the bucket name you are having, please give that bucket name here. That is one change. After that, here I given the path D drive Qt data frog. This is my path only. Coming to your side, in whatever the path you are going to keep those files, that is the path you need to provide. Please do these minor changes. Again, I'm telling, don't run the code blindly, and please go through each and every line. Here I given the comments also in every line what I'm doing, what we are doing. So with that, try to understand what we are doing, and with that, try to run the code. With that, you can able to get the clear picture what operations we are doing as part of running all these lines of the code.
Sir, here we created bucket by using console, right? How can we create by using Python code?
Yeah, if you remember earlier, I showed you, right? We are having the bucket called, we are having a method called as a create bucket, and by using the create bucket, you can able to create the bucket. So see, for example, 1 second. So this is the client object. So first step, you have to create the client object. After creation of the client object, if you click on dot and tab, here, yeah, see what we're having. Create underscore bucket. So by using this, you can able to create the bucket also if you want.
Okay, so in that braces, we have to mention our bucket.
What is the bucket name? Correct.
Okay. And also in PyCharm, we are using GCS comments, right? For create.
Not
for
in the PyCharm, here only we are using.
Here
in the notebook. So
in
for example,
what cases we are we can go with that.
No, there is no specific cases, Sandy. For example, now in earlier after uploading all the files, I want to verify whether files are uploaded or not. Then what I did, again, I opened the GCS console. There I verified that. Instead of going to the GCS console, if you want, what we can do here, from here only we can able to give the Cloud SDK command. With that, we can able to perform that operation. There is no specific cases, Sandy. If you want to do any kind of operations on top of by using the Cloud SDK command, we are having that feature on top of the notebook. That is the concept I told you as part of our yesterday session. There are any specific cases to use the Cloud SDK commands on top of your notebook. Instead of switching to the multiple windows, GCS window and notebook window, instead of doing that operation, if you want, what we can do here, from here only we can able to run the Cloud SDK commands. For example, as part of doing this exercise, I want to create the bucket suddenly. Actually, what we can do, you need to go to the GCS console. There you can able to create the bucket. Otherwise, from here only you can able to give it as a simply GS util space MB space, you can able to give your bucket name. That is the way you can able to perform some kind of operations within the notebook only. To understand that, just I given the concept to you yesterday. Okay, so while doing the practice, please try to give the answer for this question only. To give the answer for this question, only to do the stop practicing. You can do the practicing in parallel, try to give the answer. Now, can we be able to run all these lines of the code in the pie chart or not? Whatever the lines of the code we discussed, can we be able to run all these lines of the code in the pie chart or not? Obviously, we can able to run it. Okay, just I will copy all these things here. Okay, just check here only just for 2 minutes. So actually, whatever the lines of code we ran in the notebook, I copied all those lines of the code into our PyCharm script. Now, with the help of the PyCharm also, we can able to perform these operations. Now, what I will do here is, again, just I will go back to my GCS window. In the GCS window, I will delete all the files which we copied just now. Okay. Now tell me, if I want to run this, what is the prerequisite? If you want to run this script, what is the prerequisite from the PyCharm? From the PyCharm, if you want to run this script, what is the prerequisite? We need to give the environment variables. If you remember, actually, what we did only in the PyCharm, we configured everything with the help of the environment variable. We created one script. For that script, we given the environment variable. Now, for example, if you are going to create the one more script in the PyCharm, again, there also what we have to do, we need to provide the environment variables only, because whatever the environment variables yesterday we defined, that is applicable for only that script. But if you want to run the one more script with the help of the Python to GCS in the PyCharm, again we have to define the environment variables. Now you try to give the answer. How to define the environment variables in the PyCharm?
Python
Click on the green right
click on this
right
green
click.
button. After that,
Add
click on add
parameters.
parameters. In this add parameters, we have to define the environment variable. Now we are do I have any? Sorry, it's a sample to only, but here we need to give this just 1 second. Where we can, otherwise I will one thing I will take from the previous lines. As I told you yesterday, so when you are going to define the environment variables, what we need to cross verify here? What we need to cross verify? You are giving this for which script only. So here we need to see the script name, and here you can able to see the script path, and then only you can able to see your credentials information, everything here. Here I given my credentials information. Why we are given the credentials here in the environment variables? From the PyCharm, you want to connect to your GCS bucket. For that reason, we have to specify the credentials in the environment variables. Otherwise, what will happen? You will get the error saying that authentication is failed only. So for that reason, you have to specify your credentials.json in the environment variables. With this only, you can able to perform your code execution. Now environment variables are ready. Now just right click on this, click on run button. Now we'll see what will happen.
Sir, one question, please.
Yeah, please.
Sir, as same as we are connecting with notebook also to those some operations like
Yes.
SDK.
Yeah, please continue. What's the question?
As same as notebook is connecting with GCP. Again, do some operations like this SDK. Again,
I didn't get your question. You can ask in Telugu, no issues. You can ask in Telugu. Please ask in Telugu.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇక్కడ పైచార్మ్లోనే కనెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నట్టు సేమ్ నోట్బుక్ కూడా మనం షట్ డౌన్ చేస్తాం కదా సార్. మళ్ళీ కనెక్ట్ చేయాలంటే ఎస్డికే ద్వారా మళ్ళీ కనెక్షన్ తీసుకోవాలి కదా సార్.
అవునండి, నేను ఏం చేశాను, మీరు మీకు you connected to the cloud SDK shell. From the cloud SDK shell, just you have to do the command called as Jupyter space notebook, okay? And already yesterday you created that JSON file. If you remember, yesterday in the cloud SDK shell, first we given one command. With that command, what's happening here? It is creating a JSON file in a particular path. That credentials.json file is already created in your local system. That's the reason today no need to run that command again one more time. And directly you can able to give it as a Jupyter space notebook from your cloud SDK shell. With that, your notebook will open. In that notebook, you can able to perform all the required operations on top of your GCP.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay.
అంటే పైచార్మ్ కానీ నోట్బుక్ కానీ మనం అలా ఎన్నిసార్లు కనెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలన్నా ఈ ఆపరేషన్ సేమ్ గా మళ్ళీ చేయాలి కదా సార్.
Oh yes, correct.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
So in the notebook, so for example, whatever the notebook I'm using yesterday, I'm using the same notebook. For that reason, here I'm having all the lines of the code already ready. But if you're going to open the new notebook, what need to happen? You need to write all these lines of the code again one more time. That's the reason on the day one of the notebook, I told you only, whenever you are going to perform the practice, after completion of the practice, please save all these notebooks. If you are going to save it, what will happen? Tomorrow, no need to write again all the lines of the code. You can able to refer the previous lines of the code in the notebook. With that, you can able to write the new lines by depending on our requirement. Every time if you are going to create the notebook, new notebook, what will happen? You have to write all the lines of the code. Otherwise, instead of that, what we can do here, after doing the practice on the notebook, by click on the save button, or you can go click on the save button. With that, you can able to save all these notebooks into your local system. With that, next day if you are going to perform the practice, no need to write all the lines of the code. That is one advantage. Otherwise, after 1 month or 2 months, and if you want to verify what is the practice you have done on top of your notebook, you can able to refer the saved notebooks. That's the reason, sincere session, after doing all the practice in the notebook, if you want, please try to save all these notebooks into your local system. With that, in future, if you want, we can able to refer all these notebooks. That is one thing. And coming to PyCharm, here we are writing all the programs, or we are running all these programs only. Later, what we can do here, if you want, we can able to save all these files also. Already what is happening here, these files are saving in a particular folder. In this folder, if you see, in the C drive users del PyCharm project, in this folder, all these files are saving. My suggestion here is, whatever the files you are creating in the PyCharm, try to take the backup of all these files into your D drive or E drive only. For example, because of any reason, if PyCharm is going to crash, what will happen? You can able to lose all these files, whatever you practice. For that reason, try to take copy of all these files into your D drive or E drive. With that, in future, if you want to refer the practice files, you can able to refer all these things.
Sir, one small question, please.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, here we are connecting the GCP service, GCS service with Python. Do we have any other service we are going to connect with Python, sir?
Yeah, we can connect to any service. We can connect to BigQuery, or we can connect to Compute Engine. We can connect to any kind of services.
Okay, sir. Are we going to discuss?
But for now, we are discussing about the. We'll see, and if time permits, we'll discuss about other services also. Okay, so with the help of the Python, you can connect to the BigQuery. The BigQuery, what we are doing, we are creating the table, we are loading the data, right? All those operations also we can able to perform with the help of the Python. But whatever the examples so far we are discussing, this is for Python in the combination of the GCS service. Okay. Now see here I ran the code. After that, what's happening? We are getting the output like this and uploading the file. All these files are uploaded. Now just to go back to your GCS bucket. So we are having the bucket. In this bucket, you can able to see all the list of the files. Okay, so from the PyCharm also, just I am trying to explain you, we can able to run the same lines of the code from the PyCharm also. Whatever we discuss in the notebook, we can able to do all these operations on top of your PyCharm also. Okay, now in the same way, just we'll discuss about one more topic only. So it's a small topic. So see here, yesterday we discussed about the pandas. Yesterday session, what we did the pandas operation by reading the data from the local files only, which is nothing but in the local system, in the D drive or E drive, we are having the files. On top of those files, we created the data frame. Now, if you want, what we can do here, we can able to perform the same operation with the help of the Python also, and with the help of the GCS buckets also only. Now, just what I will do here is, I will upload a file here. Just 1 second. Now see here, in my bucket, in the CSV folder, I uploaded one folder called as a customer_algo.csv file. Now, on top of this CSV file, I want to create the pandas data frame. Try to recap. Yesterday, how we read the data from the file? If you want to read the data from the file, what operation, what function we need to use in the pandas? In pandas, if you want to read the data from the CSV file, what is the function we can able to use?
Read.
We can use the function called as a read_csv function. With the help of the read_csv function, we can able to read the data on top of your CSV file only. Now, if you observe here, I'm writing the same lines of the code again. Import pandas as PD. Just run this. And after that, here I'm giving df is nothing but data frame we are creating. We are giving pd.read_csv. With the help of this function, I am trying to read the data from the local path, or I am reading the data from the GCS bucket. This is my GCS bucket path only. So we are given the GCS file here. On top of the GCS file, we are performing the reading operation. With that, I am creating the data frame. Just will run this. Okay. Now, if you want to see the data of data frame, just give it as a DF. Now, see, we are getting all the data in the tabular format. Now, for example, I want to see only top 2 records. What's the function we have to give? Yesterday we discussed.
Head of 2.
Just give it as a head of 2 or head of 3. With that, you can able to get only top 3 records by depending on our requirement. Now, here my requirement is I want to filter the data for only the grade values wherever we are having the 200. So whenever we are having such kind of requirements, as we discussed yesterday, what we can do only, just we can able to give it as df of your column name, which is equal to 200. With that, you can able to filter the values by depending on our requirement. Now, after filtering the data, I am creating the one more data frame called as a df1 here. In this line of the code, I am creating the one more data frame called as a df1. In this df1, I am taking the data for only the records where grade is equal to 200. After creation of data frame, if I'm given the df1, now see what will happen. It is given data for only few records where we are having grade is equal to 200. Now my requirement is whatever the result we are getting here, instead of getting the output like this, I want to write this data into my CSV file, but I want to write the data into the GCS bucket only. For the purpose of writing the CSV file, what is the function yesterday we already discussed? 2_CSV. Indirectly here, with the help of the 2_CSV function, you can able to write the data to your local folder, or you can able to write the data to your GCS bucket also. Here I'm giving 2_CSV. After that, I am giving the bucket name. Here I'm giving the file name is nothing but customer_algo1.csv. We read the data from customer_algo. Otherwise, I will give like this. algo_200, because we are having data for grade 200. So I'm giving the file name like this only. Now, once we are going to run this. Now, what's happening here? It is creating the file on top of your GCS bucket. In that GCS bucket file, you can able to see data for only 200 grade values. Now go back here. Click on refresh. Now see what happened. Customer_algo_200.csv. This is the way you can able to perform the pandas operation also on top of your GCS buckets. And indirectly, again, I'm not discussing any new topic. Already we discussed about these pandas in the yesterday session. But yesterday we discussed about the pandas with the help of the local files. Same operations we can able to perform on top of your GCS files also by using our pandas and but one important thing, if you want to run all these lines of the code, you need to install these three. You need to install pandas in the notebook. You need to install GCSFS. All these are the different modules only from the notebook. If you want to read the data from the file or if you want to write the data to your GCS bucket, we have to install some kind of modules or packages. What all are the modules we have to install? You need to install pip install pandas and pip install GCSFS and pip install FSSPEC. All these three packages we have to install. Now from where we have to install? From here only you can able to install. Just click on this plus button. You can able to get the cell. Just take this. Give here. Click on run. In the same way, take the second one. I already installed the region, not installing again. And click on run button. In the same way, if you want to install the third one, copy and paste here. Click on run. Okay. Indirectly, before running all this pandas code to read the data from the GCS bucket or to write the data to the GCS bucket, you have to install pandas, GCSFS and FSSPEC. All these three packages or modules we have to install. With that, you can able to do the practice on top of the pandas by using our GCS bucket files. Okay. Any questions on top of all these things? Please ask me again. So from my side, no need to share any kind of inputs today. Already I given the list of the files also in the zip file, and whatever the notes I typed in the notebook, I will upload that file into the Infinity. Please try to run all these commands and please try to understand all these lines of the code. And I given one exercise. What is the exercise? Or I given one assignment already to you. What is the assignment?
From CSV file, we have to load.
In the zip file, we are having the CSV folder, right? Whatever the CSV folder we are having, try to upload all those CSV files into your GCS bucket. Don't try to copy paste the code ID. Please write again whole code with your own hands. With that, you can able to get some kind of hands-on experience on writing the code also. If you are going to use the same code, just you are going to click on the run button. Don't do that operation. Please try to write each and every line of the code, whatever we discussed, Randy. With that, you can able to get the clear picture what operations we have done as part of our class. Okay. That's all for today, Andy. But before winding up the session, just I want to let you know one more information here. First thing, people are asking about Monday is the holiday or not. So Monday is the Vinayak Chaturthi. So Monday is the holiday, Andy. Monday, no classes. First thing. Okay. And second thing is coming to Sunday. I will inform you by today EOD. Even if you are going to have the classes, those are kind of online classes only. So if anyone planning to go to your hometown, you can go because we are conducting anyhow online classes. But whether we are having the online classes also or not, I will confirm you by today EOD. Just what I'm telling here is if you are going to have the classes, those are the kind of the online classes only. And coming to tomorrow Saturday, if possible, I am planning to take 3 classes. Please plan accordingly. Okay, this is the schedule for next 3 days only. Saturday, I am planning to take 3 classes, definitely 2 classes, but third class we'll see by depending on my availability. I am planning to take the 3 classes. Coming to Sunday, I will confirm you by today EOD. Even if you are going to have the classes, those are the kind of the online classes. And coming to Monday, we are not having any classes. This is the plan. Is it clear? Okay. That's all for today, Andy. If no questions, we can able to wind up for today. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes.